.com news editor and Fox News contributor, Mike Davis, former law clerk to Justice Neil Gorsuch, former Senate Judiciary Committee counsel as well, and he's the president of the Article 3 Project, watches all of these issues extremely closely, and Juan Williams, Fox News political analyst. Great to have all of you with us today. Mike, let me start with you. As I suggested in that intro several times, Justice Breyer has not spoken on his own behalf. This is not at all the way that these moments typically go down. The word is that the White House got news of his plans to retire last week. So what do you think happened here, and why didn't he get that important moment to announce this in his own way to the American public?
That is a very good question. Justice Breyer is a very good man. He was very good to my former boss, Justice Gorsuch, and his law clerks, including me, when we joined the Supreme Court. He's been on the court for 26 years. This is a huge retirement, or this is a huge announcement for any justice, and for it to leak out like this is just unheard of. So that is a very good question for the Biden White House. And it appeared at the press conference that even President Biden was upset that this leaked out the way it did.
So, Mike, you know, we're just getting some indication that Breyer's putting out there that he is not upset about what happened here. Is that your understanding?
I don't know. I have not heard that from anyone at the courts. I would suggest that this leaking out through NBC instead of coming out of a statement by the Supreme Court is highly unusual.
Highly unusual.
Unprecedented.
Okay, unprecedented. Katie, let's get your thoughts on this, and also the confirmation that we just got from Jen Psaki, who would not confirm any of the justices' plans because it has come forward in such an unorthodox way. But she did confirm that it is still President Biden's plan to nominate a black woman, and there are already a lot of names out there circulating to the highest court.
Well, the first thing is that all day we've heard that this was a decision made by the justice himself, that progressive politics didn't push him into retirement. On the other hand, as we've just noted, this information has leaked out somehow, and you got to believe that politics are behind this. President Joe Biden, of course, is up against a midterm election that looks like it's going to be very negative for him. He's on the ropes with the left in his party and moderate Democrats in his party, and now all of a sudden he has an opportunity to make good on one of his campaign promises, which is to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court, even though we, again, have not had this official announcement come out today. Now, the question moving forward for the Senate is going to be that it's a 50-50 Senate. Republicans generally have been more open to looking at nominees on the merits rather than on other issues. And so I foresee Democrats accusing Republicans, if Joe Biden follows through with his own standard of who he thinks should be a Supreme Court justice, of accusing anybody who opposes the nominee of sexism and racism, much like we've seen with criticism of Vice President Kamala Harris and her performance.
We have some pictures of some of the judges who are sort of expected to be in that top list. Ketanji Brown Jackson replaced Merrick Garland on the D.C. Circuit Court. She is considered to be a top contender. And there are some of the other individuals who obviously, you know, all have very, very strong credentials to be considered for this office. And Juan, I'm wondering what you think about that. You know, I mean, why is it that we have to sort of present it this way? Or why do you think the president wants to present it this way, that he would choose a black woman rather than saying, I'm going to choose the absolute best person for this position?
Oh, I think there's never been a black woman on the Supreme Court. I think there have been 2 black men, so there's only been 2 black people. Justice Thomas is there now. Justice Marshall was his predecessor. Thomas replaced Marshall, but never a black woman. So, I mean, it's like, you know, it's always a white man is the standard for the Supreme Court. So I think that when President Biden was running as a candidate, I think he spoke to the idea that, you know, it was time that there would be some sense of full representation for all sorts of people in the United States on this court.
But
and
I'm just saying that if you pick the person who is, pick the person who's the most qualified, and then you choose, you know, someone like Ketanji Brown Jackson, for instance, it doesn't sort of diminish that selection by saying, oh, well, I already narrowed the group of people I would look at to these people. I think it takes something away from elevating someone like Judge Jackson or some of these other people that we see on the screen when you say in front of it, I will only choose a black woman. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think it's wrong. I just think that, in fact, you have extremely qualified people. Judge Jackson's on the D.C. Court of Appeals right
Absolutely.
now, which is a real bed for qualified, extremely qualified Americans.
Absolutely.
The emphasis here is that qualified black women have never been given the opportunity, and President Biden's trying to speak to that. I think that was clearly the case when Justice Marshall was put on the court by President Johnson. I think that when President Bush put Clarence Thomas on the court, he understood that there was a need to make sure that there was a sense among all Americans that there was some diversity of opinion. Yeah. Nobody questioned Justice Thomas at the time in terms of his credentials.
No, I just think, Katie, maybe you have a thought on this, a quick thought on it. You know, it doesn't, I don't recall them saying, I'm going to pick a black man or I'm going to pick a woman for Sandra Justice. And maybe there are considerations behind the scenes, but when it's the first consideration, you know, you just want that person to shine and say, I've chosen this woman rather than I've chosen this woman who checks these boxes.
Well, we all have seen how Justice Clarence Thomas has been treated over the past 20 years of his career at the Supreme Court by the left, who claims to be open and tolerant to diversity unless it's diversity of intellectual thought. But the irony here is that the Supreme Court is about to hear a case about affirmative action in colleges and whether it is constitutional to allow students to be eliminated from consideration for entry into universities based on their ethnicity, their race, and their skin color. And yet here you have the President of the United States already saying he is going to make this choice based on exactly that.
Mike, quick thought on that before we go.
President Biden has some good contenders for the Supreme Court. There's a process, there's a hearing, and we'll see what happens at that hearing.
All right. Thank you all. Juan Williams.